My name's Christopher Wilson and this is the Aurora. It's a 1955 built German cruise ship. It was the first ship that Germany was permitted to build post World War II. Anyway, we're gonna go aboard the Aurora and I'll show you around.
So I'm in the wheelhouse of the Aurora cruise ship. It's I don't know, it feels a bit creepy, but it's really cool. So as you can see, Chris has got a lot of work to do in this room. I think he's got a lot of work to do on the whole ship. But with time, and obviously money, and probably a good few helpers, you can see the potential as to what it could be again. And you know, getting it back to how it was, it'd just be amazing. So there's the wheelhouse of the Aurora, and I'm stood on the bridge. Yeah, I think you'd call it the bridge. I'm getting good at these technical terms, aren't I? So I'm looking down at the bow. So you've got this other deck here, and then down the bow. This here was a swimming pool. It wouldn't fit a lot of people in there, but that would make a fantastic hot tub. Imagine sitting in a hot tub on the bow of a big cruise ship. Yeah, so maybe if I have a word with Chris and tell him next time I come back I want the hot tub working. What do you think, Chris?
It's a tall order, but if you come back in like 4 years, maybe we'll have it done.
Oh, okay. I'll hold him to that. Yeah, so I'm on the top deck of the Aurora. I've got one question for you, Chris. Do your horns work?
You know, I don't think that they ever were serviced, so my guess is if we hooked them up right now, you know, I doubt that they would work. But I think if you pulled them down, which is another project that I'm dying to do, it's something that that's been haunting me for, you know, the past several years. I would love to pull both of those things down and completely rebuild them. And I have several friends in Germany that have offered to help me find any parts that I might need for those. But I think with all the paint that's on them, I don't think that they're in as bad a condition as we think. Anybody ready to help with this project?
I'm so tempted to climb up your stairs of your mast. Should we see how far I can get before I like get scared and have to come back down?
Like 3 feet?
That's what I was going for 4. You know, I was being generous. It's quite a sturdy ladder though.
Yeah, once you get to the top, you're backwards.
Yeah, it leans, doesn't it? I don't think I'm strong enough to hold on. I exceeded my expectations. I'm tempted to stand up there. I'm getting up will be fine, but I think I'd be scared getting back over. I think I'm going to come down. I think if Simon was here, he'd be all the way to the top. It's a bit much for me, that then. Have you ever been all the way to the top?
Yeah, it's not enjoyable, but I need to go up there again soon because I would like to get the lighting fixture up top working. But if you look at these, this is like a foot rail and a handrail to go around so that you can service these guys, right? You can service the horns. And yeah, I think I'm just going to use either a ladder or scaffolding to do it. But when these things come down and they're going to be refurbished, then yeah, we're just going to do it the easy way. We're not going to use this stuff.
No, it looks a bit sketchy. I think my heart would be in my mouth. But what a fantastic place, and what a place to watch the sunset.
This is kind of the skylight for the engine room, but then they welded it up and ruined it. So eventually, this is not anywhere on the projects list in the near future. But these doors will probably be rebuilt to put onto here, maybe with a single porthole onto each one of these. And everything will be repainted and redone. I mean, but
So,
for a while.
As he mentions the engine room, that is the room that I think I'm most excited to go and see. Well, this is the room that you always want to see on a ship. We won't listen to the sign, we'll just go in. We are going in to the engine room. Hey. It's a bit dark, so I do apologise about the footage. I've got a big flashlight. Whoop. So it might be a bit grainy, but that's what life is on a big ship. It's like a dark and eerie place, isn't it? So, and as we know, we went up the top before, and all the portholes at the top have been welded up. So let's see what we can see in the dark. And then through to this room, there's it's the control room. This is really, really cool. It's just epic. Wow, look at the size of these.
These are the Mercedes Maybach diesel generators. This is the diesel engines, and they have the turbos on board. And
it's mind-blowing. Obviously the size of everything, because it's a ship. So then when you've got 5 engines and just everything is just on such a large scale, I don't really envy Chris. He's got his work cut out for sure.
hello?
Hello? No, the ship's fucked, it doesn't work, sorry, bye. Right, where to next?
Forward, I suppose.
Forward, ooh. I love just looking around.
We don't spend a whole lot of time forward.
So this is the unoccupied area of the ship.
This is, yeah, it's unoccupied, but I will show some of it. Some of these rooms have stuff in it. I'm gonna flip on some lights. Make life a little easier. There would have been about 60 cabins up here. A lot of these cabins are kind of garbage, but they all have a little something in it. But you can kind of see this is what you would have stayed in, back in the back in the 60s and the 70s. You would have stayed in something like this, but only something a little bit cleaner and more well taken care of. But each one of these cabins, there's a lot of them, and they're all in roughly the same condition. Not too bad, not too good. And we kind of want to keep a lot of them intact, looking like you step back in time to the 1960s. And I think that's where we'd like to go with this, because these are absolutely beautiful small cabins.
Can we just take a minute to admire the view? Wow. These are so cute. Oh, we've got lights. Ooh! We've also got cobwebs. I think it's cleaned up before I come.
Each one of them has a bathroom, shower, toilet, sink, I mean everything in here. I've closed them off because we had a problem with like people who would come to visit, you know, kind of going into the bathrooms, utilizing them, and we don't have any water running to any of this because a lot of the plumbing needs to be redone. Not all of it, but quite a bit of it needs to be redone. But we're slowly doing that as well.
But apart from a bit of like, obviously New Zealand redecoration, carpets and stuff, it's in really good condition. And you know what's the thing I noticed the most? It doesn't even smell. Do you know, like some like old places, it can smell a bit musty and a bit damp. There's no smell.
No. They're actually in really good shape, but
Yeah.
you know, definitely we would want to update it and replace a lot of the old stuff with some new stuff that's old. You know.
But look, it's like,
You just don't.
I love the, you know, it's beautiful, isn't it?
Yep. It was one of the coolest little ships around at the time when she was sailing.
Yeah, there's definitely crew quarters, isn't it, with the lockers, and it's less the basic compared to the other ones.
Yeah, this is where we're gonna...
And like, you always notice on ships and boats, the crew quarters are always a bit pants compared to everything else, aren't they?
This is where we're gonna stuff the volunteers.
Yeah. That's where I'm staying, that's where I've been staying all week.
Oh, there's much worse rooms. Speaking of, so down here is all crew quarters, and there were quite a few crew on board. So the crew quarters are huge. I guess we could turn on some lights up here.
No. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Laundry room.
I think those are really cool washers and dryers.
Yeah.
And I don't see that there would be really anything wrong with them. I see new wiring, new everything. So even though they're old, I'll bet you with a minimum amount of servicing, these things could be, this laundry room could be operational.
Well, if you can do it tonight, I've got clothes to wash.
Yeah, sure. Yep, definitely crew quarters.
Yeah. That's the spider's bedroom. Ooh.
Yeah, that's the spider.
Cobwebs. Yeah, that's where the spiders. So spider's bedroom, 318.
So this is the bottom of the ship.
Ooh.
The bottom of the ship. So, and it's dry as a bone, which is good. So there's no water in the bottom of the Aurora. But what we do get is every rainy season, sometimes if the wind is blowing in the right direction, the rain finds its way in and then it finds its way down here. So then we have to pump it out. But it doesn't get very deep, it's a couple inches, but you know, you don't want any really, you know, real standing water in areas like that. Anyway.
So this is technically your bilge.
This is my bilge. This is
The Aurora has a dry bilge.
yeah, it does. I mean,
wow, I am like really shocked. Wow.
Surprisingly, the metal on, is high in iron content, and it's not as bad as one would think. Although that's no excuse for saying that it doesn't need to come out of the water. But right now it sits in fresh water, and that's the best place in the world that it could be, is in fresh, shallow water. That's the safest place. It's like a time capsule right now.
So are we now forward?
Forward.
So this is right. Okay, so this is the bilge forward of the boat.
Yeah, mid forward. Yeah. So a little past mid forward.
Wow. I'm really shocked at the condition it's in, considering this is a bilge of a very old boat.
It's actually in.
You know what? It wouldn't take much to like really brighten this up, a little clean and a little paint and yeah, a little tidy up.
It's in a lot better condition than a lot of the other museum ships that I've seen that are actually open to the public. I mean, this doesn't have the huge flaking metal that's like almost worked all the way through, that's going to need, massive amounts of money to replace. I mean, it's actually, I think you could bring a sandblaster down here and you could clean it all up to white metal and you could probably paint it, and I don't think you'd find any holes. Like, we've done thickness tests down here and the metal still, it's got a lot of integrity still.
Do you know what I'm really dying to do down here? Yeah, it echoes. It's quite cool.
No one can hear you scream down here.
So if you were a serial killer, this is where you'd bring me to, like...
Serial killer?
My sister was like, you can't just go to America and go with some person you've never met before. He'll be a serial killer. And I've known Chris for the past 12 months, like, through Facebook. We've chatted a lot on video call. But my sister's like, Gemma, you're going to get serial killed, in America.
I'm trying to think of the serial killer joke that I heard recently about the guy picks up a hitchhiker in his car on a dark road, and the guy says, what if I was a serial killer and you picked me up? And the driver says to him, well, what would the odds of two serial killers being in the same car be? Anyway. All right, killing the lights. Notice all of the electrical on the ship still operates, and we've gone through all the wiring to make sure that it's in good condition and safe, the stuff that does work. And what doesn't look like it's in good condition, we've removed it. Room's filled full of crap. This stuff is a lot of things that are still untouched on here. We've taken off garbage after garbage after garbage, and it just still keeps it coming.
I know that feeling.
Yeah, so we're gonna keep at it until it's all gone.
Singles women's quarters.
No men allowed.
I bet you it was really, really clean down there back in the day.
Probably still is. There's actually a door down there, a cabin, that the door's locked on it, and I've never been in that cabin. I've never drilled it. I've just, I don't know why not. I just haven't, but I don't know what's in there or why it's locked.
See, that would bug me. How can you own a big ship and not have looked in every room? Isn't just curiosity like spiking to go, I want to know what's in it?
I'm afraid I'll find Jimmy Hoffa or something,
There could be $1 million in there.
There could be, and that would be great. But I did find money on board, so it's been a treasure hunt too. I found $6 on board. so
that's enough to restore the ship with. Do you not think we should go and open that room?
Yeah, we could. We'd have to drill it out. So.
Do you think we should do it? I'm one of these people, you all know, I'm like, I need to know.
We'd be letting something bad out.
What happens if it's got bad spirits locked in there?
Yeah, I think There might be a skeleton in there or something.
I'm
It's
not-
the former caretaker that never was found.
If we've got time, I think we should do it.
Maybe. We'll see if she can talk me into it. Yeah, I am a little concerned about what we're gonna find inside of here.
So it's like it is locked from the inside, so we're gonna go and get some more tools and find out what's behind this door. I'm quite nervous now.
And we're in.
Are you ready for this, Chris?
No.
Are you ready for this? My heart is in my mouth. Right, we just better go for it. I'm gonna let you go first though.
Shit. Okay, here goes.